Cash Out will spend the rest of his life in prison. Last week, a jury found the rapper, his cousin, and mother guilty of running a sex trafficking operation.
The three used their record label as a front for the sex trafficking. Today, a judge handed down his decision.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment. IG TikTok about the video, and we're just gonna hop right into it. So today we'll be diving deeper into the Cash Out case. So if you haven't seen, Cash Out was convicted of, well, we'll get into every charge he was convicted of, but short term he was convicted of RICO and other things like that. So today was Cash Out sentencing. Cash Out has been sentenced to life plus 70 years. His cousin Tyrone Taylor, who was also on the case, was also sentenced to life plus 70 years. And his mother, Linda Smith, got 30 years. So they all gone up the road for sure. Now, if you didn't know, first Cash Out before the trial was offered 25 years. His lawyer then tried to come back and offer 30 years right before sentencing. But obviously, them niggas ain't give a fuck about that and threw the book at his ass. So, so to start with, let's go over with everything he was convicted on. So, he was convicted on count 1, violation of the racketeer, basically the RICO Act. 20 years to serve in confinement consecutive to count 10. Count 10, great, life in confinement. Count 12, aggravated sodomy, life in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutively with count 1. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutively with count 22. Count 24, battery. 12 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 25, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. 5 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 23. Count 26, pimping. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 27, pandering. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 28, keep a place of prostitution. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrently with count 10. Count 29, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 30, civil battery merged with count 24. Count 45, possession of prohibited items by an inmate. 5 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. So that boy got convicted for everything they could throw the book at him. But first thing, we did dive into, obviously they get to speak right before their sentencing and dive into all three. So the mother, one, she was very apologetic. She was very soft-spoken. You just kind of see her face and everything. She's scared. I mean, who wouldn't be? You going to jail, especially for 30 years. And you would be sick. Let's be honest.
I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Yes, you're speaking today.
I'm sorry. I'd like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Not a day, ever since I turned myself in, I was always prayerful for the victims. I take accountability. I pray for them continuously. I pray for the district attorney's office. I pray for you, Judge.
But then, Tyrone Taylor, he had, I would say he had a pretty normal response. It wasn't nothing crazy, out of pocket.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor.
Speak up a little louder for me, sir.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor. I know my life ain't been perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in life. I know my background ugly, but not violent, like being caught with guns and robbery and murders and stuff. I know that I made a lot of mistakes by making the wrong decisions. And I learned since 2019, I've been incarcerated, to make the right decision. And I learned a lot of patience. And the victims who accusing me of something that they said I did, that I didn't do.
But what the fuck me up was this nigga Cash Out. This nigga Cash Out, if you heard how this nigga talk, boy, you would have thought this nigga was one of the chosen ones, bro. You would not think. You would have thought he was R. Kelly, bro. You would have thought he was a nigga who had like an illustrious career, one of the talent, not just 2 songs. This nigga literally said, he started talking about how Jesus was done wrong like he was Jesus. Like, that shit really blew me. And then on top of it, this nigga, I mean, of course you gonna say you ain't do it, but the Jesus shit just blew me. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know who the fuck this nigga think he is. God damn.
Jesus was falsely accused. A lot of the prophets were falsely accused. I know at the end of the day, through Jesus Christ, the Most High will always give you the actual judgment. One day, the truth will come out. One day, the truth will come out on my situation. One day, the truth will come out on this rape allegation.
Now, as I dove deeper into this case, I would like to say, I believe, yes, he is guilty as fuck, for sure Now, that reaction showed me he was guilty, but where they were able to build the RICO case at, and, you know, commercial sex acts and things of that sort would be for sex trafficking, is that one, the investigator testified that financial records were connected to at least 4 bank accounts and spanned nearly a decade from 2012 to 2013. Also in the findings, rent payments were allegedly made to properties where some of the alleged trafficking was said to have occurred. And then, over the past 5 weeks, jurors have also heard emotional testimony from alleged victims describing how they were forced into sex work under threats, manipulation, and violence. Where these victims, first we have, he does say their names in the clips. If I ain't put that one in here yet, I will now.
Good morning.
I want to start out by thanking you for giving us a fair trial. I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position to, you know, sit there and judge someone's life, you know. And, you know, it's a hard decision, and I felt like they made the wrong judgment. I've done things in my life, I'm not perfect. But the things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things. I know it's typical for a person to come up here and, you know, show remorse to, you know, crimes that they have done, but I can only show remorse to the people that I know that was in this trial, which is Kiara Adams, Deanna Sanders, and Jasmine Brown.
But obviously, you know, in articles and things, they don't have it. So you don't have to pay attention to what he said in the clip to realize who's who. But first, he talks about ex-girlfriend that she testified that Gibson, Cash Out, secluded her from her family and friends while they lived at a Midtown condo in 2013. And then she said she testified that the rapper allegedly used her to pick up women who were allegedly doing sex work for him, as well as collecting money from these women. The witness also testified that she didn't initially know about Gibson's alleged works in prostitution. The woman testified she started piecing things together when she found out her photos were allegedly being used by Gibson online to attract clients for sex work. The witness also talked about her previous arrest related to prostitution, though she claimed not to have known anything about it. Then we have another woman who says she was a recovering drug addict who was homeless at the time of the alleged incident in 2019. She initially approached Taylor, who was Cash Out's cousin, was panhandling near the airport, hoping to earn enough money for a bus ticket. Instead, she was lured to the Airway Motel on Fulton Industrial Boulevard, where she was allegedly sexually assaulted. For 2 hours, I repeatedly sexually assaulted in the grate. The woman told the court, adding that Taylor was armed with a gun during the attack. She said the 2 men held her in a motel room for 2 days. During her testimony, she described in disturbing details how Taylor brought her to the motel, ordered her to shower while he washed her genitals, and directed her to solicit sex for the side of the road. He wanted me to walk up the road all morning, and if someone stopped, $40 for oral sex and $100 for intercourse, she testified. She said the woman said Cash Out, whose legal name is John Gibson, later arrived in the motel and joined in the sexual assault. At one point, she recalled my body was in so much pain. And then we have a last woman who he said, obviously not identified here, but he said her name. She met Cash Out through Instagram. He invited her out to the club, and from there, she said things escalated. She said the woman said after that meeting up with Cash Out, she was taken to her home in Hateville with other women, where she remained for 2 months as people came in and out. Everybody pretty much lounged around wherever, but the back room was for dates, the woman said. Gibson is accused of keeping a place of prostitution. Indictment also cites indictments that allege occurred in a hotel off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard. So
The court also heard impact statements from victims and their families.
He and his mom literally stole the souls of all the women that they victimized.
The day these defendants chose to commit these crimes against me, they gave me a life sentence, and there was no mercy or consideration.
if that right there, you know, speaking in layman terms, don't tell you that this nigga is guilty as fuck. We have one woman who said that she collected money. So they collecting money and using pictures to solicit other women. So there, how you go, he's making a profit and things of that sort. So that's how you get to the commercial sex act and things of that sort, as well as then you get to actual rape and sexual assault. What they said, a woman in a motel with, well, then you, and then she is, you know, used to solicit for prostitution, and then, you know, obviously, you know, they get the money from that. So there goes again commercial sex act and pimping and things of that sort. And then you get the last woman who, you know, basically kind of admitted to staying in a brothel, and that's how the back room was used for dates and things of that sort. So yeah, we're Cash Out, in all honesty, looks guilty, and I ain't gonna say looks guilty, he is guilty as hell and has got convicted of it. And I just think it's crazy that he's up there talking like that when it's really over with. Now at the time, he obviously didn't know, this was before sentencing, didn't know what he was going to get. But like I said earlier, he had already been offered 25, and he actually took it to trial because he said he wanted his day in court. So you couldn't have thought your sentencing was going to be like after you turned down 25. But shit is over with now. So that's all I got to say, though. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I just hit top bottom video, and we out.